On his 50th day of the Trump administration, our president made the claim that Obama, back in 2010 or 2009, whenever he was composing Obamacare, purposely meant for it to implode this year because he knew that either way he wouldn't be in office. Now, Trump making that claim doesn't make so it's very to say that is correct. One would have to surmise that back in 2009 or 2010, when the Democrats had both houses, well, both the House and the Senate, or rather houses of Congress, he was thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm going to, be the only Democratic president of the 21st century for the first 20 years." So that thought would have had to run through his mind because why would he want to mess up another Democrat to make himself go up higher in the presidential ranking system they do every couple of years or decades? Now, the other thing that one has to take into account here is that at that time, there were no, there just wasn't a reason to believe the Democrats would get curb stomped in the election as they did, rather curb stomped all around, all over the board in the 2016 elections where lost the House. Well, you already, they were destroyed. They were completely demolished. So it's hard for me to believe years and years ago, unless Obama is some great prognosticator, he would have. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm again somebody that tries to play fair, but I have to call not BS, but definitely a bold claim out when I see it, and one that I don't think has any validity to it. It's really incredible to me that a man who has repeatedly had false claims made about him, I don't believe he wants to, for example, have sex with his daughter. I don't believe that he is over here trying to deport every single Hispanic person. I don't believe that he has an inherent bias against people in general based on their race. I just don't believe it. And I guess that might be the foolish optimist that I am, or maybe the fact that I can't recall any specific statements he made about a racial group that weren't referring to a specific type of group, I guess, if that makes sense within that group. So you'll have some people say the thing about illegal immigrants was mainly about Hispanics, but he's not talking about every single Hispanic. But with that being said, this is a person who's had claims made about him, and it really is so just. I can't comprehend how you don't have a feeling of just like I've been there. I don't go and buy everything I hear somebody say about another person because I've had allegations made about me personally that I knew were false and that many of the people with whom I would consider myself close with knew were false, which is why I don't subscribe to these little theories that people put online and display for no reason. And as my notifications go off, I really just think that there's an inherent problem here where the president is caught between making these claims, as he just did today, having a Democratic, or rather the Democratic Party, I want to say Democratic leaning, and in the sense of just liberals that lean toward the party, calling for his impeachment and wanting him to fail and predicting his demise. That climate is not good, and you can only blame Trump for that so many times before you have to take some credit yourself. I watch the Young Turks on a pretty regular basis, and many of their critiques of Trump I agree with, but when you have Cenk Uygur making all these predictions about, oh, just give it a year and a half, give it 6 months. Are you serious? Why don't you give him I'm not trying to say it's all about criticism or you can't criticize somebody, but this is everything he does is the worst thing ever. I mean, really, if he's so bad, why hasn't the world gone down in flames? Now, I just critiqued them in this video, and I would still not say. I just think it's too early to tell. That's kind of the problem we have going into this and having a slow day by day thing. Things are building up. We're seeing things occur. But even with that, you still can't factor in what is bad and what is not in such a short amount of time. And that's part of the reason why with C-SPAN, when they did that presidential ranking that was released, I think, 3-4 weeks ago, that the one that had Obama in 12th place, they didn't include Trump because they knew that he was too recent to implement. And that's why when Tom Perez gets over there talking about he's the worst U.S. president, it's this premature downgrading. And I'm talking about just in general, this administration will be awful. It needs to end. And I know it won't end because of what I say here, but mark my words, if that rhetoric is completely nullifying what these Democrats and liberals claim is their attempt at unity. And this isn't a conservative person talking, because I agree with much of progressive ideology in the way of social issues, such as being against the death penalty, pro-choice, all of that. But I still find problem with people who, to some extent, think like me, thinking and praying and hoping that this guy gets impeached, when all you're going to do is get Pence, who you still despise anyways, or Tillerson, who you went after, is the next one on the list, or Ryan, who you also can't stand. It's so funny watching that. I don't mean to get too off topic, but they take everything he says, like what he said today. Somebody will comment on a forum, will post a video on YouTube, or will just do something to suggest that's going to be the reason he gets impeached. And it's funny a little bit, but it's also kind of sad.